I just can't, if I'm being honest, it feels like I'm just stuck in a nightmare. We're going round and round in circles trying to piece together what could have possibly happened. And we've just got to keep such an open mind with everything because we just have no idea where she is. It's like she's just vanished into thin air. There's no evidence to point us in any direction.
All we're doing is sitting there going round and round and round, going through every scenario, and then go back to the first scenario again and do the whole thing again, and then it's just all day long. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, it just can't make sense that this is actually happening and here we are.
Hi everyone, hi Grizzlies, welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gizola K, and today we continue to look at Nicola Bulley's case, missing mother of two from Lancashire in the UK since January 27th. She was last seen around 9:10 a.m. At St. Michael's on Wyre, along the River Wyre. So, let me just hear. We've got some construction going on upstairs. We live in an apartment block, so I'm sorry if you hear that noise. You can hear a little bit now. So I'm basically just going to play you the interview in a moment. Also, before I do, I just quickly wanted to read you this latest Lancashire police update. They say, update, it's now exactly 2 weeks since Nicola Bulley went missing, and our search for the mum of two is continuing. Specialist resources, including underwater search teams, drones, mountain and the police helicopter have been out today as we comb the River Wyre and down and out into the sea. People may have seen less police activity in the last day or two than previously around the river, above the weir at St. Michael's, but that is not because we have stepped down our searches. It's because the focus of the search has moved further downstream into the area of the river, which becomes tidal, and then out towards the coast. Throughout this investigation, we have been keeping an open mind about what might have happened to Nicola, and we continue to look at all the potential scenarios to eliminate them. That's great to hear. Okay, we are reviewing our decisions regularly. Based on all the work we've done up to now, our belief remains that Nicola may have fallen into the river for some reason, but we are continuing to investigate all possible leads, and this involves viewing CCTV, dashcam footage, and speaking to people who are providing us with information. It remains the case that at the present time, there's absolutely nothing in all the extensive inquiries we have made that suggests anything untoward has happened. Okay, or that there's any third-party involvement in Nicola's disappearance, but the investigation is ongoing. We are aware of reports in the media about a red van being reported to us, and we'd like to stress that while this has been reported to us, and we are making efforts to identify the owner at this time, there's nothing to suggest this was anything other than one of the hundreds of vehicles in the area that morning. The inquiry team are working through hundreds of pieces of information, and reports such as this in the media can distract them from genuine inquiries. Our priority throughout this investigation has been on finding Nicola and providing answers for her family. They continue to be supported and regularly updated by specially trained officers. Unfortunately, we continue to see groundless and hurtful abuse of innocent people, including witnesses and local businesses, which is totally unacceptable. We also continue to see a huge amount of commentary from so-called experts, ill-informed speculation and conspiracy theories, which is damaging to the investigation, the community of St. Michael's, and worst of all, to Nicola's family. It must stop. We have consulted with the National Crime Agency, which is offering continual advice and support, along with a number of national experts. We have increased presence in the village over the weekend, and if anyone has information or concerns, they should feel free to come and speak to us. So if you are there and you see the police out there, you can speak to them if you have any tips that you want to tell them directly like that. We will have an increased presence in the village over the weekend, as I say. For any immediate sightings, please call 999. There's also an email address. There's also a link here that you can submit footage to. Anyone with information or footage is asked to submit information. Okay, so now with this construction noise going, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to be like, okay, mute the mic and let's play the interview. So if you don't know, yesterday, Channel 5 in the UK had a exclusive, long, over an hour, I think it was an hour and a half show, Vanished Nicola Bulley, right? So it was a whole, I was able to see that you know, some people put it on YouTube, some people put it on Twitter. So I was able to watch the whole thing. And I'm going to bring you just the portions today, because it was spread out over the whole time, right, of Paul Ansell's interview. Okay, and let's see if we learn anything new. I've watched it a few times now, but I want to monitor the chat and see if we learn anything new about the day or what happened, or if there's any clues or anything. And of course, what does Paul think happened, and what can we do to help? What kind of awareness can we raise? Okay. Lancashire Liberty Adventure says new footage from St. Michael's today. Very low police presence. Okay, thank you. I'll check it out while we play this. So this was from yesterday. Let's put it on the screen like that. Okay, here we go.
Today is 2 weeks since Nikki went missing. This might be a stupid question to start with, but how are you doing? What's life been like for the last 2 weeks?
Hell. I am still here, obviously. My main focus is the children, always has been. So that's my focus that gets me through. But you know, I think when you're going through something like this, you can't put it into words. I can't say how I'm doing. I can't really explain it, because it's not your average everyday of the, you know, thing. You know, nobody knows really anybody who's ever gone through anything like this, who knows anybody who knows anybody. So it's just an impossible situation for everybody, you know, involved.
I think that's the thing, because it's hard.
Again, sorry for all the noise. If you guys are thinking the color looks a little bit weird and everything, fair use would be you have to make something transformative out of the original clip. Otherwise, you're going to get copyright striked or claimed or something like that, right? And so I put my cool blue filter on, which I really like usually for press conferences and things. So if you think the color looks a little weird, just know this is not the original color of the Channel 5 episode. It's a filter that I put on there with a border that I put on there, and there's a little bit of background music as well if you hear some of that I've added as well, just so you know.
To imagine what you're going through. Can you even put it into words for us, the sort of emotions that you're feeling at the moment?
Anger, utter frustration, confusion, disbelief, surrealism. Nothing feels real.
I was going to ask you that. What feels like you're living someone else's life, or how does it feel?
It just doesn't feel real. Yeah, it's in the Truman Show. Well, I feel like I'm in the Truman Show. Like, I honestly believe I'm going to wake up at any moment. Yeah, it's just. I was just talking to Louise before, you know, Nicky's sister, and we just say the same thing every day. Just, how are we even in this? You know, we're good people. We are good people. We try to live the best life that we can, do the right thing by everybody. You appreciate the small things. You know what I mean? This is the kind of thing that you see on the telly in dramas and stuff like that.
You said that your main priority was the girls. Can I ask you how they're doing? Because, you know, you're missing the woman that you love, but they're missing their mum. And the questions they must be asking you are heartbreaking at the moment.
Yeah, it's impossible. Any parent knows, you know, that all you want to do is make everything better for your children, isn't it? You know, whenever they're worried or they're scared or anything like that, you want to make it better for them. And I can't do that. So all I can do is be as strong.
Isn't it so nice that Willow is there too? You know, I think this interview was very well done, very professional, and it's so nice to see Willow there as well.
As long as I can, so that they don't see the level of like worry on my face. Reassure them as much as I can with, you know, with what we know, which isn't much, and then try and distract them, you know, so that their mind's not focused on it. I find that's the best way of doing it.
They need hope.
Yeah.
And you've got to hold on to that as tightly as you can. Every time they ask you where mummy is, how does anybody even convey that to when you're going through it as well?
Again, it's just an impossible situation. The only thing that I can do is tell them that everybody is looking for mummy. The best people, like, in the world are looking for mummy. Just to give them that, you know, that level of hope that they can understand that everything that can be done to find mummy is being done.
I think for the vast majority of people watching on, Nikki is a face on a poster at the moment. Tell us a bit about her. You know, what's she like?
She is.
Okay, so he's just asked, what is she like? So let's listen to how he describes Nicola. I mean, I agree, you guys. I think he looks tired, devastated. Of course, he's angry. He's like, what is going on here? I mean, it must be so frustrating to have no answers, and the police are saying one thing, and he's thinking something else, and everybody's like, what? The social media is on it. It's now a high-profile case. It must be absolutely hellish, as he says, right? For you guys all saying, slow the chat. Normally, you know, the mods, the record we've had here is 27,000 in chat, and if it needs to be slowed, it will be slowed. But all you could do, if you just want to tap the live chat, you could slow it yourself, meaning as in if you're watching live and you're a viewer, just pause it, and then you can read, you can scroll yourself at a slower pace than what it's flowing. Okay, let's carry on.
Fun. She is loving. She is, if you're friends with her, she is the most loyal friend that you could ever have. You know, with Nikki, what you see is what you get. There's no hidden, nothing's hidden, you know, it's all, that's her. And she is an exceptional mum, and she absolutely, you know, adores our girls, goes above and beyond. I was saying to Emma the other day, I don't think that she's been away from them, like, for more than like 1 or 2 nights, you know, since you know, we've had, you know, our eldest, and she's a pillar of strength, you know, to our family, and without her, you know, the whole is, you know, bigger than you could possibly imagine.
Can I ask you to take us back to 2 weeks today? That morning of Friday, the 27th of January.
Yeah.
Was it a normal morning like any other?
Yeah, totally normal. So the only difference that morning was, you know, usually, you know, when you've got children, getting up on a school day, you know, you probably know yourself, is just mayhem, isn't it?
Yeah, carnage, yeah.
Yeah, absolute carnage. So the only difference on that morning 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, don't know why it's stuttering like that. So there's a little small difference that morning. So let's have a listen to it. Oh man,
You could possibly imagine.
Can I ask you to take us back to 2 weeks today? That morning of Friday, the 27th of January.
Yeah.
Was it a normal morning like any other?
Yeah, totally normal. So the only difference that morning was, you know, usually, you know, when you've got children, getting up on a school day, you know, you probably know yourself, is just mayhem, isn't it?
Yeah, carnage, yeah.
Yeah, absolute carnage. So the only difference on that morning 2 weeks ago was that there wasn't a lot of rushing. I came down and a lot of stuff was already done. It was, you know, the girls were having a breakfast and everything was pretty much ready to go. I came down, and Nikki went upstairs to get ready. And then, you know, the routine is basically if Nikki's taking the girls and Willow, when I hear her come down, I'll get them in the car, get them strapped in, get Willow in the boot and all that. And Nikki comes out, give her the keys, and off they go.
It's a well-oiled machine normally, and sometimes you walk the dog and take the kids to school, and on that morning it was Nikki's job.
Yeah, and then if it's my job, usually the roles are reversed. Yeah. So yeah, again, it was just nothing out of the ordinary. Everything was normal. You know, because my working hours, because I work for a US firm, so my hours are like 6 hours behind.
So for everyone asking, if he's like 6 hours behind, and let's say the work day starts at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So 2. So, you know, at noonish or so, he's going to the gym on a Friday. So they go to gym, come home, and then start working officially. But of course, one can have like flexi time, let's say, for example, and maybe catch up on some emails and things like that before that whole day starts as well. Okay, so let's have a listen here.
UK time.
Sorry, Johnny says what was different. So if anyone missed what was different, is that normally it was quite, they say carnage, but like quite busy. The household was quite busy and, you know, kids busy and getting everyone ready for school. But on this day, it seemed like everything was very organized. That is what Paul said. It seemed like he came down, oh, everything's already ready. As he came down, Nikki went up to get ready. And then based on the CCTV images, we also have the still images. We could also see that she seems to have put Willow in the back of the car, and just based on, we've only got like 3 or 4 images, right? So there was a minor difference there, and everything seemed very organized and, you know, let's go, like clockwork, ready to go. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Okay, let's continue on.
I don't usually start work till a bit later in the morning. So when Nikki takes the girls to school, I then know that I've got like an hour to myself on that morning when she takes them. So I always quite look forward to that, you know, because I wave them off and then I go in the house and I put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, and I think, right, I've got an hour.
Bit of peace. So at what point do you think?
A lot of people are commenting on him saying he looks forward to that hour by himself. But I mean, in a busy household, a partner, 2 kids, his dog and everything, I mean, I guess, isn't that hour like bliss? Just like an hour of like, okay, peace, and then focus, time for yourself, basically. And then you could be like, okay, and then I'm going to go to gym and then start my work day.
Thinking something's not right here. When did it feel, where's Nikki? At what point did that kick in?
So she's usually back like 9:45 average, 10 o'clock, you know, at a push. So I'd gone up into the office at 10, thinking that she'd be back in a minute. So I logged on, I was just going through some emails and stuff, you know, setting my day up, and it got to say 10:15, and that's when I thought, you know, she's later than usual, but I still wasn't like particularly worried, because she has come back at 10:15 sometimes. Like she might just get talking to Emma or another
find a friend
mom
on a dog walk,
or anybody. So, you know, it's not often, but she has got back at about 10:15, 10:20. So again, I wasn't like massively concerned or anything. Then it got to 10:30, and that's when I thought, you know, she's, you know, quite late now, more late than usual. So I tried ringing her phone. And
pay attention now. He tried ringing her phone. That's around 10:30. We still want to know, what time did daughter-in-law go to Willow in the phone? Because if she went any time from 10:30, because she called the school at 10:50. So if any time between 10:30 and 10:50, they were standing there, or she was standing there with the phone, and you could see that Paul is calling, then that would add another what happened there to me personally, because the phone is like there. I recognize that phone. I recognize, okay, the screensaver and that dog. Okay, cool. Now let's call the school. And maybe the person only got there at 10:50, but then it's still the 9:33 to 10:50. I wonder what on earth all happened in that time frame, right? That time gap.
there was no answer. I tried ringing her on WhatsApp, and again there was no answer. I tried the mobile again, and no answer, so I couldn't get her. I started to get a bit panicky, I think. So that's when I thought, right, I'm going to have to go down there and see if she's all right, you know, see if I can see the car or you know, see what's going on. But I still expected that I'd just get there and just, oh, there she is, you know. So I go to the gym on a Friday lunchtime. So I quickly got my gym stuff on, because I just thought, basically, I'm going to go out, find her, come home, do a bit of work.
Carry on, yeah.
Yeah, lunchtime.
Okay, and Jade says, whose daughter-in-law was it? The grumpy lady that found the owner of the caravan park, right? The grumpy lady that found the phone and Willow initially and tied Willow with rope or twine, apparently twine, on the collar, tied her to the bench there somewhere. That whole story. The 9:33, it was that lady's daughter-in-law that eventually phoned the school at 10:50. And that lady, as in the daughter-in-law, was also friends with Nicola on Facebook. So my question is, as Paul will say in this interview, they saw them out there all the time. Like, you know, dog walkers out there, they see each other. If someone's not from the area, because it's a local area to go for walks and things like that, they stand out like a sore thumb. So, you know, the 9:33 to 10:50 is still of interest to me, just personally, of like, what, I wonder what happened there. And especially if the phone's ringing in between and you could see, whoa, I can't find a lady, but there's a dog and there's a phone. And then the partner's calling, if you're standing there, if that's happening. It's interesting, right?
Go to the gym. I was going to leave, and then the phone rang, and it was the school, and it was the receptionist at school, and she said, Mr. Ansell, it's a bit of a weird one. Willow. So it's a bit of.
Willow's gonna get on now on the couch too. Willow is so cute, a shame. I really do wish dogs could talk. Yes, I think Willow has literally all the answers, right? Oh man. Davina says, why call the school and not Paul then? That's my question, especially because they know each other. I mean, these people go to church together. They know each other. It's a small community. You know what I mean? So it's just like, oh no, just make it like they're these outsiders who found this random phone and Willow, and let's just call the school because I think I know who this is. You know who it is, you know?
A weird one, but we found Willow and Nicky's phone on the bench, and the harness halfway down the embankment on the floor. So, because
you're already worried at this point.
Yeah, because I'm just about to leave. So I've got my gym stuff on. I'm about to leave, thinking I'm gonna see her, you know, pass her, get there and find her. Then I get that call, and in an instant, it's like your whole.
Of course.
Because I knew straight away that it wasn't normal.
I'm just going to pause every now and then. Oh, man, I missed that message. Wait. It was somewhere up here. Sorry about that. Someone said maybe they didn't have Paul's number and would have called the school. That makes sense, yes. But if you connected on Facebook, I don't know if maybe they're not connected to Paul, but you know them. You know Nikki, you're her Facebook friend. You could send a message and be like, hey, what's up? Or I wonder if any of that, of course, police would be looking into that, you know? Anyway, or maybe find Paul's number. But yeah, calling the school might be the quickest thing if they only get there at 10:50. I just wonder if while Paul's calling around 10:30, he says, then from 10:30 to 10:50, I wonder what was happening at that time.
You know what I mean? Like, because I said, well, where is she? And like, well, they can't find her. So I also know that she would never in a million years leave Willow. Like, Willow is like our third child. So I know, like, she'd never, like, the fact that Willow's just in the field on her own, off the lead, obviously extremely concerning. So, obviously, I'm just in a mad panic then, you know, because I got hit by that weird, it's like your world just drops out because you know something's weird has happened. So I got in the car, drove down there, ran down the river to where the bench is. Somebody had Willow, and obviously there was a few other dog walkers there and stuff like that. Handed me Willow, handed me Nicky's phone.
I'm going to pause again. Fire Up said harness down the embankment. Yeah, he did do the hands like halfway down the embankment. And they did say the harness, which would have the lead attached, was a few feet away from the bench and could have been missed. So it could be like that. Yes, that, I mean, I believe him. It would be halfway down the embankment. So that is interesting just to consider. I mean, it's not something really new. We knew it was feet away from the bench and between the bench and the river. So it's not new information. I just wonder whether the lady who tied Willow up with twine or whatever, if she didn't see the harness initially, right?
I still expected, obviously, to just have a look around and, well, there she is, or there she is. So, you know, we're all looking. I'm like walking off into the field that way, like looking around the corners, looking over the hedge, looking over the stile, and, you know, nothing. But I'd rung 999 on the way, because I obviously knew something was wrong. So the police rang me then, while I was at the bench, and said, look, you've got to get home, because the police are going to be coming to your house. We need somebody at your house.
Okay, I'm going to pause there again. If you want to watch the full thing, the full interview uninterrupted is on Patreon. It's $1 to join. You can watch the whole thing there. There's documents. There's all kinds of stuff, just in case you want to get snarky and be like, why? 1, fair use. 2, you're here for the commentary, right? Diane says, please can you confirm if Willow's collar had a name tag on it? From photos I've seen of Willow, and even Willow here, and when in the there's like an hour and a half version of this Channel 5 show, it does look like she has a little name tag on, which would, you know, possibly have a number on, which is interesting too. That's also interesting to think about. Yes.
You get home, the police are on the way there. So I'd rung the police at like, I think about 10 to 11, and they were there. Like they got there at 25 past, so they were there, you know, really quick. So I then, you know, I'd gone home then, taken Willow back. Police officer would come to the house, and, you know, although it was like, obviously,
that's a good angle to pause this on, because everyone's going on about the potential bruise on his cheek here. If you look at him on the left-hand side, so on his right-hand side. I've seen it shared all over Twitter. It's all over Facebook. People are making circles about this. What does it have to do with anything if he has a little bruise there? But I don't think it's a bruise. I think it could be lighting. We've seen this in every single case. I mean, we saw now in the Idaho case where people said that Brian Koberger's dad's neck was all cut because people had enhanced and filtered and done all sorts of things, you know, just to change the colors and things. And it did look like a cut the way they did it then, you know, and I'm not saying it's my filter here. I've seen the actual pictures from screenshots on Twitter and people saying, is it a bruise? Is it a bruise? The thing is that sometimes it really isn't what people are circling. And even if it is, what does it mean? You know? So I think it's generally the lighting, because on the first day, I know his beanie was quite low. So, but you can pretty much see his cheekbones and things here. So I don't think it is, but you are free to think if it is. I just don't think it makes much of a difference right now. And he looks absolutely exhausted. I can just imagine how angry he is, how exhausted, how he's like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? What are the police doing now? Where is Nicola? What happened? And going through, as you said, round and round and round every scenario. And the family says the same thing, round and round every scenario they're going through. Okay, so let's continue on.
Extremely worried and concerned. I still expected at any second to just go, oh, we found her. You know, we've found her here or whatever. And that, yeah, I mean, that never happened. Like, that was just the day then just, you know, just spiraled, and end of the day came and no answers. Here we are, you know, 2 weeks later.
What do you think might have happened?
We've always tried to keep all options open because we don't want to shut down any avenue. You know, we've always been very careful that we don't want to say, oh, we think it's that, and then push that when it might not be. The most obvious thing, of course, has always been the river. It's always been my gut instinct and her sisters and family that that isn't the case. Extensive searching, you know, is probably well aware has gone on in that river. I mean, they were in there, you know. I mean, I have to categorically say I cannot fault the police in any of this. They have been incredible, and the relationship that we have working on this is very, very strong. It's very good. So that this.
Okay, he's not mad at the police. He's just frustrated with the situation, right? Also, I do want to say this is Grizzly True Crime, and we have a slogan here: "Keep it Grizzly," which is kind, respectful. We're generally a very empathic community. A lot of new people have subscribed recently, with the Idaho case and this case, of course. So it's going to take some getting used to, I guess. But we're not here to be like, look at him, he's so dodgy, red flag. Look at this. Oh my word, we don't do that here. So there are other communities where you can do that, but we don't do that here. This is a very kind community and we chill out. It's been very tense lately. I understand the frustration with the case, but everybody, could you just take a deep breath and be nice to whoever we're analyzing and be nice to each other as well? I see a lot of infighting too. We don't do that here at Grizzly True Crime. Okay, continuing on.
There isn't any criticism of them at all. I want to make that clear. But the fact that they were in the divers and underwater rescue team and all that were in that river on the day, and thankfully found absolutely nothing in the part where you would, I guess, have to presume is her last known location. If you take all those things into account, of the unlikeliness of it, you would have to sort of say that really the river isn't what happened. And so we always felt that the mobile phone and the harness and everything, it could possibly be a decoy. Again, we don't have evidence.
No, but these are things that you naturally would think about, because the team's call was still active at the time, wasn't it? And the Willow's harness is on the floor, and I'm sure these are things that constantly you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here. If you're only joining now, we are looking at the clips of the interview. So only the portion where Paul was talking. The whole show was very interesting. So if you can watch it, please do watch it. It's available. There's some links on Twitter. There's some on YouTube. You can find it, right? If I can find it, you can find it. Toodle Pip said he's a logical thinking engineer. I'm married to one. My dad was one, and my brother's one, and they aren't big emotional people. I think he's dealing with it logically, and I must agree. And Flying Hedgehog says he's being very careful with his words, just saying. When people end a sentence with just saying, what are you just saying? Because wouldn't you be careful with your words if you knew the entire world is watching a high-profile case and your partner's missing and you're trying to help, just be calm with the kids are freaking out, the family's freaking out, the pressure's all on you. And the whole freaking world is looking at you and like, ooh, is it him? Is it him? Did he do something? We don't even know what happened to Nicola. So when people say he did it, she did it, this one did it, did what exactly? Because we don't know what happened to Nicola, right? I can just imagine the whole world is watching this interview and he knows it. This is a very high profile case now. So if I were him, I'd also be very careful with my words,
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, the only thing we're bothered about is finding her. There's nothing else matters. That's the only thing that we're bothered about, is just finding her. So, it's, of course you're going to be thinking these things. And so, the more searching of the river that went on, the more confident we were that it wasn't the river. Especially things like, again, it's not nice talking about it, but at the same time we've taken hope from it. The fact that no item of clothing or anything has been found anywhere where you would have thought something, would have...
Something might have been found, yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely nothing. So, for me, personally, and again, this is just my opinion, I'm 100% convinced it's not the river. That's my opinion.
And I suppose the question after that is, what then? And and the difficulty is you.
So yesterday we went over an article where Paul had said that. It was quoted from this interview. Personally, he 100% is convinced she's not in the river. Of course, if law enforcement finds Nicola in the river, that will be a terrible day for everyone, especially Paul, the girls, her family. No answers are very frustrating too, but he's got to be prepared for everything, right? Oh my word. So there's that. And then now let's look what he says next.
You're allowing your mind to think where she might be and what's happened to her, which is horrible as well, I imagine.
Yeah, it's horrendous, because people don't just vanish into thin air. It's absolutely impossible. So something has happened. Something has happened. Find out what it is. Find out what it is. There has to be a way to find out what happened. There has to be.
Yeah, there can't just be no answers, right?
You cannot walk your dog down a river and just vanish into thin air. Something happened that day. Something. Find out what it is.
Yes, I hope law enforcement is on it. I'm sure they are. April Shaw says, please, let's not blame him or the family. And for those, I see on Twitter, there's a couple of people, saying like, Grizzly, what a horrible name for this case. And how they need to pick up a dictionary. Grizzly with a double Z is like a bear. That's why my mascot is a bear. You see what I mean? I've got a bear on my hat. I've got a bear everywhere. I freaking love bears, okay? But a group of bears is also called a sleuth. So my channel name is Grizzly True Crime, okay? So I'm just saying that because when people say keep it grisly, I can just imagine. That's what we want to do. We keep it grisly, which is Grizzly True Crime standard of let's be kind, let's be compassionate, let's give people the benefit of the doubt. Chill out. Let's just watch. Let's listen. Can we learn anything that could be helpful to giving credible tips and leads? Something like that. Can we raise awareness? Can you share this? Be kind. That's what it means, just in case. Just so Pernill's like, keep it grisly. And I'm like, oh, some people are going to look at that and be like, what do you mean? Thank you so much, V-Reader. I think there must be involvement by a third party. I wonder, I just don't know at this point either, but it's interesting just to hear what Paul's thoughts are and what he wants, us to do really is to keep sharing. And he said he's going to say it now, what he wants police to do.
And my plea now is, personally, I want every house, every garage, every outbuilding, the land scrutinised. I want it all searched. I want it all scrutinised. Every piece of it. And you're not going to appease me with anything else. That is what I want to happen, because for something to have happened there, it's not many. You would only know that area by local people. It's a local area. We walked down there for years, and I mean years. You see the same faces every single day. And on the very odd occasion when you see somebody that, you don't know, they stand out like a sore thumb.
And I think that's an important point to make, because there might be some people watching this thinking, why are you doing this? Why are you talking to us? And the reason you're doing that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is because you feel that somebody out there knows something. And that's the appeal that you're trying to make. Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. And I'm just pleading with them. Just please. Anything, no matter how tiny, just please, just come forward with it.
Yes. Okay. So if you're in the area or even beyond, and you have any tiny bit of information that could help in this investigation, please do either email it in. I'll put the email address up here again. It's Nicola Bulley Investigation at lancashire.police.uk. You can also submit a tip or footage actually via a link that they've shared on the Lancashire Facebook page, or you can call 999. Okay. He does say he wants every piece of land, every farm, every barn, everything around that area to be checked. And I really hope they will.
Please. Because that could be the key to finding her. And as a family, we're not bothered about anything else. Like, there's nothing else. The only thing is we just have to find her.
Who Nikki is. Was she ever the sort of person who might go away for a night or leave for a few days? You know what I mean?
It's about as far out of character as you could get. I truly mean that. Like, even as a couple, on the odd occasion, if we ever do have a night away from the girls, because the girls are our world. Like, we go out for meals, the girls come with us. Our whole
family.
Yeah. Everything that we do is, the girls are in it. They're involved in it, and that feels right. You know, that's how we love it. We love our little family. We love our world.
And your gorgeous dog Willow's been spending a bit of time with us as well. And it's also that thing that Willow may well have seen.
I know.
To Nicky.
I know, and that's another layer of frustration and hell to it. You know, it's a hellish situation with the layer of hell that not knowing what's happened yet, and then also having Willow, who probably does know what happened, but she can't tell us, can she? And she's a very sensitive dog. I did take her back there first thing on the Saturday.
So
the day after.
The next day? Right.
The next day, yeah, I took her back there first
How
thing.
did she react to that then?
Well, I was praying and hoping that once we got to the gate that she would do something different, you know, just to
take you somewhere.
Yeah, just give some sign of some kind. But she, bless her, she just went through the gate like any other normal day and ran into the field and looked at me excited that she was there for a walk. I was saying to her, where's mummy, you know, and she was just looking at me like, you know, let's go for a walk.
There's been a lot of publicity around.
He looked so sad by that, you know, that Willow, as he got there, is like, okay, especially at the bench, which, you know, they said as she got to the bench, me talking to the friend of Paul and Nicola, saying that, because he went with Paul that day, right, on the Saturday. And when they took Willow there at the bench, there was no reaction. It was just like, okay, cool, what are we doing? The only mild reaction that she had, apparently, which Paul didn't say in this interview, but Paul's friend had said to me when he was out there, the only mild reaction she had was up there at the CCTV cameras, where she kind of stopped for a second and looked around and then sniff, and then that was it. There wasn't much, and they were like, what is it, Willow, what is it? But there was nothing after that. There were no answers, sadly, you know, they could draw from that.
Nicky's disappearance, isn't there? And I suppose you are one of those stories that is very much talked about on social media at the moment. I don't know whether you've read the stories, the accusations, all the theories that are out there. Does that upset you, or are you happy that people are talking about and trying to find a solution?
It would be upsetting, of course, if I let myself read it all. Don't get me wrong, I have seen some stuff. Most people have been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you're always going to get that 2% of people that, for whatever reason.
And that 2% is 90% of the true crime community, unfortunately. I'm glad he said 2%, that he hasn't got 80% of the comments being made about him online, because holy crap, on Facebook and Reddit and everywhere, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So let us be part of that 2%. Oh, no, on the 98%. Let's not be part of the 2%. Let's be part of the 98% that's really, really kind to Nicola's family, to Paul, to, of course, the kids, to everyone. You know, let's make sure that we show them support, love, compassion, because trust me, they need that right now, and not to be scrutinized and be like, yeah, this one, this is why, and then dig out all the receipts ever of their personal lives and just blast it everywhere, right? You said, V-Reader, so sad that they will be suspicious of each other. Who is suspicious of each other? Yes.
You know, say and do not very nice things. But I don't want to give any energy to that. Like, my energy is just finding Nicky. I read one that said the police need to look at the partner. And I'm sort of like, well, yeah, that's the first thing that they do. Like, of course it is. Yeah. You know, like, I knew that would happen, you know.
How in the hell are people at this point, sorry, this is a nice message, I'll read it now. How are people comparing him to other true crime cases where those people literally murdered pregnant ladies, murdered their children, all that kind of stuff? Like, what in the hell is going on in true crime? Like, oh my word, it's absolutely terrible. Kat says, you are the best GN. This is the friendliest and warmest group of grizzlies and Mars. Proud to be part of this group. Be kind always. Thank you so much. And look at that picture. It's so cute. Yes, 98% grizzly crew. Exactly.
on the first day.
And I suppose you expect that, don't you? Yeah.
I expected that. I said to them, do it and get that out of the way, and then focus on
finding her.
On finding her, and focus on the rest of it. So that's exactly what we did. It was that was done, ruled out, obviously.
Yes, that was day one that they looked at him. They looked at him. 4, D-man says, sure, but 2% does not mean I declare I believe him when I do not know the facts either way. I have no idea what happened. Of course not. If you're on the 98% side, which is, according to Paul, 2% is not very nice. The 98%, most are nice. That's great that he's had that experience, because we don't often see that in true crime cases. I mean, families get absolutely bullied, harassed, threatened online, terrible things. Oh, man. And I've been in contact with those families in missing persons cases or in a true crime case, and it's absolutely horrendous to hear the things that they go through, to see the emails that they get. You will not believe what they get sent, right? So, yeah, it doesn't mean have your blinkers on and don't think. No, think. You can think. Just be careful what you say. Families are watching. Be kind. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And then move on. So, whatever, people want to say, and, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not mine.
But I know you've also been struck by the amazing response locally, and, just being here for today, everybody's talking about it. Everyone's asking how you are. And the local community, whether they're standing out on the street corner or putting posters up or just asking questions, they are doing an amazing job. Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. Like, it's heartwarming. It's given us an immense amount of strength, and it's kept that hope so high that we can't thank them enough.
How are you keeping it? Is that the kids? Is that your natural positivity?
It's all of those things. Of course, it's the children, of course, but I am naturally a positive person, and I believe that you get out of life what you put into life. And that's how we are as a family. And so what we're going through now is like unprecedented hell, but that hope and that positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never give up on us ever. She wouldn't give up on anybody, and we're not going to ever give up on her. Like, we're going to find her.
We were talking earlier, and you were saying that one of the plans you had was to get married during the pandemic, but you sort of, like many people, you had to abandon those plans. Is that something that you think, when she's back, this is what we're doing?
Yeah, I'm far too laid back sometimes for my own good, but also my attitude is, we'll get around to it. It'll be fine. And so we have obviously spoken about, marriage many times before, and then we had the children. When your children are, obviously, little, it's, all time consuming. And then as they were growing up, we always said when they're a bit older, be a nice time to do it, and they can be a part of it. They can, be the bridesmaids and everything. So that was always the plan. And so, it's just now. It's something we would have obviously, spoken about it and moved forward with again, but and still will.
There is a chance, isn't there, that somehow she might be out there even watching this. If you could say something to her, what would you say to me?
Those questions are always so hard. I'm like, I take a deep breath when people ask, interviewers ask those questions, like, so if you could say something to them right now. That is so hard. That is a terrible question, in my opinion. The interview was brilliant. I'm not shading the interview. It was brilliantly done and everything. In every interview I see in a true crime or missing persons case, and they're like, what would you say to her right now if they were watching? Oh man, that will break me. I think I'd break down right there if my loved ones were missing. Oh man. There's something else I wanted to say. I can't remember what it is. No, I'll carry on, then I'll tell you afterwards.
Nikki, now.
Just how much I love her, how much us as a family love her and need her, how well thought of, how much her friends love her and need her back, and we're never going to be the same until she is back. Just come home.
Are you going to be okay?
I will, as long as she comes home. But yeah, I have to be okay for the children. But obviously the hope inside me that she's going to come home. That I can't let myself, think of anything else. It isn't an option in my head. We deserve a happy ending to all of this. You can't have this level of support, this level of love and compassion and hope and prayers without getting a reward from that. In my mind, that is impossible. When you think of all the hope and everything that's going out there, it has to come back. And that has to bring her home.
I really appreciate you talking to us. I know it's impossibly difficult. You've described your life at the minute as a living hell. I hope what you said makes a difference as well. And I think everybody watching this will join me in saying that we all hope that Nikki comes home and that she is safe and well.
Oh man, after that he just says thank you. I don't know, that question, that was just hard to see that, right? I still can't remember what I wanted to tell you. I had it was like right there in front of my mind, and then I'm like, where is it? I want to show you this portion as well here. They also interviewed Emma, so this is a little clip that I found earlier today as well. Okay, I'm just looking at all the chat. I think I'm a little overwhelmed here and there, guys. I'm like, what is happening? Okay, Missy says that's a defense mechanism. Yeah, I mean, it's like too calm, too logical, really we're judging him on how he's talking right now. Too calm, too logical. He's an engineer, as someone said earlier. I Need Coffee says great information and interview. Thanks, G. Yeah, I'm glad I could show you that, you guys. I might just have to put some background music on here quickly. Just hold on 1 second. I think this one. Just softly. Okay, let's see.
Can I ask you, what have the past 2 weeks been like for you?
You can't put into words the roller coaster we've been on the past 2 weeks. It's the heartache, the torture, the disbelief, washed down with this immense hope. And then we've got this drive and focus to bring Nikki home. And then we've had to put emotions aside, being that support for Paul and the girls and my family.
This is a friend of Nicola Bulley who says we've had to put our emotions aside. You can see the family says it. The friends say it. It's what they do. Laser beam focus. That's what they're doing. That's their strategy.
And just putting that brave face on, telling them everything's all right, but equally being honest with them, knowing that Nikki is missing and the girl's mum is missing. No 2 days has been the same. No 2 hours been the same. And just waiting for that good news and keeping that hope at the forefront of our minds.
Exactly. She's saying the exact same thing. The thing that I remember what I was going to say now. I was going to say, for those of you who feel like, oh my word, the partner is super sus and why don't you see it and are you blind and what is going on? I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again now. I would rather always give family and friends the benefit of the doubt and then be shocked and then be like, whoa. And then all that 2%, the 2% that was red flagging like that and just saying this guy is so sus, this and digging out all the stuff. If they then say, I told you so, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is being part of the 2% that's going to shade every single usual suspect. John Kelly, a criminal profiler who's been on the show often, and psychotherapist, says there will always be, in every case, the usual suspects that pop up every time, especially because the public only knows 5, maybe 10% of what's going on in a case, right? So what we see and what's being shared on social media will be like this one. And people always put words in my mouth. I don't connect dots. I just present the information like, let's think about this and ask why. For example, the time gap. I'm not saying that any of those people did anything. I'm asking what happened in that time gap. Did they not recognize the dog, immediately? And then what? And then go like, oh my word, where is she? And like look for her. We haven't heard any account of that, but I'm sure law enforcement has it. We don't have it. They must have said what happened between 9:33 and 10:50. What happened in that time? And when the phone was ringing, did you see it ringing? And what happened then? And if you tied the dog up, why was the dog loose? Who loosened the dog? All that stuff. It's questions that we ask. We can have questions. We can think. I just never want to be like, that's it. And as I said, if I'm ever wrong in that context, I'd rather be shocked. Because 99% of the time, it's just not like that, right? Pernille says, if this happened to you and your loved one, hopefully never, how would you hope people around you behaved? We are a Grizzly team. Yes, and based on the Grizzlies that I know that are part of this community, you're all a Grizzly now if you subscribe, but the OGs that know how we roll in this community, if I went missing, I would want you guys to cover my case based on how you behave. So let's put it like that. And would you want me to cover the case? If you went missing or your loved one, we got to think like that. Okay.
We've heard a lot from Paul tonight, Nicky's partner, and he's told us a lot about the Nicola that he loves. What about the Nicola that you know so well?
Yeah, I think just from seeing her face out there, she's touched the nation, hasn't she? And everything that you see, a little bit more, is what she is inside. She's beautiful, she's caring, she's thoughtful, she's kind, she's funny, she's loving, the most loyal friend. She's the stuff that dreams are made of, and we've laughed, we've cried, everything in between. And then you take Nicky's lovely, amazing qualities, you add Paul's in there, and then we've got these two little human beings that we have to do everything to bring Nicky home and bring their mummy home for them.
I know that you and many other people have put everything on hold over the past fortnight, helping the family and helping the police as well.
I'm going to pause it for a second. Veridictum says, Chrissy, I'm sure people are expecting even that one little emotion, one drop of tear at least. So what I'm going to say for a second here is that I have been through so much trauma that when I talk about the trauma in therapy, the therapist is like, damn, you talk about it as if it didn't happen to you, as if it's like someone else's story. You have no emotion about it. In 4 years of intense therapy, didn't cry about the traumas. I could talk about the most horrendous things as if it's like, hey, I went for a walk and had some coffee today. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're very, very emotionally shielded and guarded, depending on what you've been through in life or depending on how you deal with really stressful situations. So I wouldn't judge a book by its cover like that. And people saying, why is he not crying? I mean, he's trying to hold it together. He's trying to be the pillar of strength. He even said Nicky is a pillar of strength. Well, now she's missing. So can you imagine what that means for him? He's like, oh my word, I am now having to hold it together for everybody, for the girls, age 6 and 9. Can you imagine what they're going through? Hold it together for the girls. Hold it together for Nicky's sister, who's apparently spending a lot of time at the house there, also to help out with the girls and everything. It's so stressful. So I don't expect to see. I would actually be more sus of the opposite, to be honest. I'd be like, damn, this person's really putting on a show here. If they were like, waterworks are on all the way, you know what I mean? I'm like, in this situation, I think I would handle it just like that. Just be very laser beam focused. What is the task at hand? What is happening? What can we do? And yeah, search everything. I agree. Search everything.
Community response has been incredible. I was up in
Yes.
St Michael's on Wyre today. There's people everywhere on street corners holding up posters of Nicky everywhere. Has that struck you? I know you're a close-knit community anyway.
Yeah, we are a close-knit community, but that community near and far has united. Oh, it's been fundamental in raising the profile of Nicky's disappearance, generating those lines of inquiry. What I cannot stress enough is please keep those lines of inquiry, please keep them factual. Don't clog that 101 line that we really need to have that factual information come through to give the police lines of inquiries. Even the locals, with all the disruption they've had on the village, they've been so supportive. We've all got the end goal to bring Nicky home. Then we've got Peter and the SGI group offering their time and expertise to cement the great work that the police have done. And then the acts of kindness from everybody is just unimaginable. And I'd personally like to thank every single one of you, family, friends, strangers. It's the simple act of kindness that have made the biggest difference. and the strength that it's given me to then be able to be, I heard in Paul's interview, that pillar of support. With people supporting me, we've been able to support Paul and the girls, and I cannot thank everybody enough. And we need to bring Paul and Gert and the girls there rock home to bring Nikki home.
Well, Em, I know you're doing an incredible job, and it's very much appreciated by Paul and many others there in the village. Thank you for your time tonight. Do take care of yourself. Really appreciate you speaking.
Okay, so that's there. Barbara says, same, we compartmentalize to survive, tuck it away. Especially with all the cameras on. I mean, I'm here by myself looking at a little camera talking to you guys, and I can promise you every single day, I am so scared. I'm so anxious, you know? So I'm like, be strong, be strong. I could have the worst day of all time. I could be crying my eyes out if I want, but then I'm here and I'm strong. I got my grizzly hat on again, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just feel like even in that sense, it's like lights, camera, be strong, no matter what. I mean, I have cried on my channel before. I have at Gabby Petito's memorial. Oh yes. Some of the Grizzlies were there with me watching when we did that. That felt really weird, really vulnerable. I actually don't want to experience that again, but I mean, sometimes you can't help it, right? But imagine being like, all the cameras are on and you know, the whole world is watching every word you're about to say. Whew, I'd be so stressed. I'd be so strong. I'd be like, oh, don't show any emotion. Karen says, please fill the chat with hearts for this family. Thank you, Karen. Yes, and everybody's sharing hearts for the family. You can share a variety of colors. I'm not sure yet what Nikki's favorite color is, but yeah, share hearts for the family. Gamer says, lights, camera, grizzly. Exactly. And Cheeky Llama says, you never show it. I know, people don't know. I'm just saying, I would be just so in that situation, oh my gosh. And to compare it to other cases, why are we doing that? And why are people comparing this guy, which is Paul? Why are they comparing Paul, who's in distress? His partner's missing. He's looking after the kids. His focus is the kids, to people who have literally killed their wife and kids. Why make that make sense? That's horrible. Oh my word. I can only imagine. If I'm ever on camera, as in if someone had to go missing that I know, and I'm like being interviewed, oh, you guys, that 2%, which is more in my mind like 80%, you go and pick me apart. Like, this woman, there's not a tear. There's nothing going on. I'll be so focused. I'll be laser beam focused. It's what I do on my channel. I'm a very protective person, very loyal person, fierce like a grizzly bear, you know, but very kind at the same time. And this is a very kind, empathic community. And I'm very, very grateful for all your support. Well, with all that being said, you guys, I think there was actually one article that I haven't finished reading through fully before I went live because I just found it then. They're talking here about dog experts' verdict on why Nicola Bulley's dog was running back and forth after she vanished. So let's have a listen. Let's have a listen to me reading this to you. Okay. Speculation around missing Nicola Bulley's spaniel has been rife as police continue the search for the mum of two who disappeared on January 27th. The 45-year-old was last seen walking her dog Willow on a footpath near the River Wyre in St. Michael's, Lancashire, with a pet bone dry, running between the gate to a nearby field and the bench where Nicola's phone was found. The dog was also found without a harness or lead, with both items found near to or on the bench with Nicola's phone. Okay, the phone was placed on the bench at 9:20, we know that, and we know that the harness was on the ground between the bench and the river and halfway down the embankment, as Paul said. Okay, so then they say the Daily Star reports the police is working theories that Nicola fell into the River Wyre despite the search having recovered nothing. Superintendent Sally Riley previously said it was possible that an issue with Willow may have led her to the water's edge. A number of dog behaviorists and trainers have now explored why Willow was found how she was. Kimberly Freeman from the City Sit Stay explained that spaniels are very smart and loyal dogs. Spaniels are wonderful dogs. I love all animals. I really do. I can't wait to have a dog one day. I wish I had dogs. The landlord he just won't allow it. So that sucks. So I've got big dreams, and you guys will be like, what is your big dream? It's literally to have a house where I can have a dog, and I will fill that house with cats and dogs. I will probably have a zoo, birds, fish, everything. Okay. But anyway, spaniels are wonderful dogs. And they say they're very smart and very loyal dogs. She told the Star, I know there's some speculation as to the dog being in distress in the water. They're generally bred to swim quite well. A lot of dogs can swim naturally, but spaniels are especially good swimmers given what they're raised to do and bred to do. So I do wonder, I mean, did you guys know, I didn't share this yesterday actually, that Willow had gone to the groomer 2 days before Nicola went missing. So some people have said, what if her hair was a lot shorter now and then she went into the water and dried off much quicker? I don't know if that's possible or not. You let me know what you think in the comments. They just said the dog was bone dry. I don't know how long it would take for her to dry off if she had gone in the water. But also then if she had gone into the water, let's say if Nicola fell in, as police are saying, would she jump in and then jump out again and then just sit there? I don't know, man. You know, and from 9:20 to 9:33, like, that's the thing. That's the thing with the person who found the dog on the phone. Like, was she bone dry already then? That is a very good question, right? Okay. Because they are so loyal to their owners, if there was some kind of distress going on, they would be very panicked and probably try and help as best they can. If they weren't able to, there would be a lot of pacing around, vocalizing as well. And if there were other people around, they would try to get that person's attention. Animal behavior and training consultant Nina Bondarenko said that Willow's pacing between the bench and the gate was linked to the flushing behavior of spaniels. She explained they're bred for hunt and retrieve, and they're bred to flush out game. So they have to be very amenable to being handled at a distance. They have to be responsive at a distance. V-Reader says, did they leave the dog because he would bark alert? I think the dog's a she, but would she bark because he would bark alert? Maybe. And so they say they were never bred as guard dogs. Some of the bigger hunt and retrieve breeds were, but these were never. They were always just jolly, intense little working dogs flushing out game. As to why Willow stayed near the bench, Nina said the dog sounds like it wasn't sure what to do and likely stayed near a familiar smell. Well, also because if Nikki's phone was placed on the bench at 9:20 and at 9:33 someone already saw the phone and found the dog, that's only 13 minutes. Within 13 minutes of not knowing what to do, and then she got tied to the bench with twine. So then I don't know if it's about the familiar smell. Maybe instead of running around, maybe. I'm not trying to argue with this. I'm just thinking about it, right? But also because she was made to stay there. Jose Ross from London Puppy Classes said of spaniels, it is a working breed. It's a very intelligent dog, a very happy dog, a very sociable dog. And Paul said a very sensitive dog. The dog, by genetics, will enjoy going from bush to bush flushing birds, and that's what they enjoy doing the most. However, he said Willow's behavior was likely linked to distress rather than anything to do with spaniels specifically. He explained, as for where the dog sits in this equation, if the dog was found pacing up and down, probably the dog was just anxious as the owner disappeared. Unfortunately, the dog is not able to tell the police what happened. He added whether or not a dog would jump into a body of water after its owner would depend on the individual and on whether the dog was trained to do so. I mean, it's also a fairly steep embankment. So I don't know if Willow would jump in right there. We've seen her swim closer to where Nicola was last seen, and it's much easier to enter the water there than at the bench, for example, which is also something to consider. Okay, and thank you and welcome to all the new members as well. I want to see one more thing here, which was this one, and then I'm going to call it a day for this case. Today, I'll keep you posted on any updates. I do have another live stream later. It's happening at, I've got to calculate the times now. You'll see it. This stream will lead you to there. It's happening in 2.5 hours from now. Okay, and it's about the Idaho case, and we've got a special guest today, which is Uncivil Law, joining us to break down a brand new document in the case, which I find very interesting. Okay, forensic diver reveals worst mistake police made in the Nicola Bulley search. Detectives investigating the disappearance of Nicola Bulley made a mistake by declaring too early that she was in the River Wyre, a diving and forensic expert involved in the case claimed. Peter Faulding, whose specialist international group firm searched a stretch of the river where Miss Bulley was last seen, said Lancashire Constabulary should initially have kept other lines of inquiry open for longer. Miss Bulley, 45, of Inskip, Lancashire, disappeared while walking a dog in the field next to the river in St. Michael's on Wyre on the morning of the 27th of January after dropping her 2 children off at school. Now, the rest of that we know, right? Paul Ansell, Miss Bulley's partner, said he's 100% convinced that she's not in the river and suggested that somebody who knows the local area might be involved in the mother of 2 disappearance. It would have to be someone who knows the area quite well, who's seen there quite often to plan something like this, I would assume. I mean, you know, if we're talking about the abduction theory, for example, because to know that the CCTV has got a blind spot there, I don't know. It's very interesting. There's so many things we can think about. I'm going round and round too. I'm going round and round all day. Even Mr. Grizzly, who's my husband, if you guys are new here, didn't know, he's hearing it all because I'm like, and then. Oh, he's not a true crimer, but he has all the updates. Now, Mr. Balding, who has worked on a series of high-profile missing persons cases, including M16 officer Gareth Williams, who was found naked inside a padlock bag, also said that a third party could be involved and suggested that Miss Bulley's phone could have been placed on the bench to act as a decoy. He has been critical of Lancashire Constabulary's investigation into the disappearance, and in an interview with the Mail cast fresh doubt on the theory that Miss Bulley was. I think the worst mistake the police have made was to declare early on that she's in the river rather than saying, let's keep lines of inquiry open, he said. This is a lady who knew the area intimately. She was slim and fit, and if she had fallen, she could have grabbed onto the bank. Okay, and the rest is just the timeline, which we already know. I've got plenty of videos for you to catch up on if you haven't seen them yet. Tilly, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Okay. Kathleen R says, so cool that you're chatting with great law tubers, yes? Lawyer You Know and Ansell Law are great. Yes. Yeah, we've had the Lawyer You Know on the show as well, so check out that episode if you missed that. It's all on the Idaho playlist. So now I've got lots to prepare for that episode as well. Lots of documents to highlight and scour through. So I will leave you with just this now today. Thank you for being here to watch this update with me and to watch the interview. Watch it again. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But please be kind. When I say let me know what you think, I mean, did you learn anything new? For me, what I learned from it was, okay, on that day, Nikki was a lot more, I call her Nikki, sorry. Her family and friends are like Nikki. He also says Nikki, right? Nicola it sounds like she was a little more organized that day, and as he came downstairs, everything was already ready, which is like, oh damn, everything's already ready. And then she went upstairs as well to get ready, and then she packed everything in the car and then she left. So, but nothing else was unusual. I mean, the Teams call happened every Friday. He usually went to gym on a Friday, as he said. And yes, he works he works from home for a company in the United States. I think they're based in Detroit. And so the hours are strange, right? For him, meaning he'd do some emails and get to his work and everything, like just start some of the admin stuff. You know how much I love admin, you guys. For all of you asking in the chat, did you read my email? I'm getting like 400 emails a day. It's hectic. So did I read that? Probably. Am I able to respond to all of them? No. Sorry about that. I'll wave my little white flag to surrender there. Johnny T says, a dog under duress runs in circles. Seen it for sure. Thank you, Johnny. Okay. I think I've waffled enough now. I think I've made my point and said all the things. Go check out the playlist. Check out this interview. Be kind below. I was saying what I learned. That was one of the things I learned. The harness halfway down the embankment. New phraseology with that. And that what I learned, this was a big one, was that Paul had actually called Nicola's phone a few times. So from 10:30. And so between 10:30 and 10:50, I wonder if anyone heard the phone ringing, saw the phone ringing, and was like, oh my word, okay, whoever Paul is calling, partner's calling. I don't know. And then they called the school. And then we know the rest. Okay, so question. Nancy says, question. What time is the next live? The next live is at 7:30 European time, which is 1:30 Eastern time. And that would be 6:30 UK time. Okay, so I'll see you guys there. That's in the Idaho case. Go catch up on that if you have no idea what that case is about. And yes, Willow is absolutely adorable. I agree. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, mods. Really appreciate it. I know it's been very busy times here on Grizzly True Crime. And I will see you all in the very next live stream. This one will lead you there. And I'll also put a link in the chat in case it doesn't. Okay, bye, everyone.